Yeah, work can be pretty intense sometimes, and relationships can be pretty intense sometimes. And when you mingle them together, there can be a whole lot of, I guess you could say, drama. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Conquer Online podcast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Veronica. We are your hosts.
And today we're going to be talking about working with your significant other.
Yeah, so if you're new to our channel, Chris and we are engaged. We'll be getting married next year. Our other business partner is my brother, Eric. So our team is very family orientated. But today we want to be specifically talking about what it's like, or at least for us, our experience, what it's like to be working with your significant other. We work together, we play together, we travel together, we spend, 24/7 together. And I completely acknowledge that kind of partnership isn't for everyone. So we completely acknowledge that. But we did want to talk about it today because we do have quite a lot of our students coming through our CONQUER.AMZ Academy, and they're coming through, as husband and wife. So we've been working together like this full time for a few years now. So we're gonna share with you guys maybe some things that we have picked up, and it's taken a lot of trial and error, and we love obviously working together, but we're not gonna beat around the bush. Like sometimes it is difficult and it has its challenges, and we're still working it out.
Yeah,
but we're definitely in a place where we do work together. We love our lives. So that's what we're going to
so we're going to touch on a few of the main points that we have noticed over these years, and what we've gone through as well. Share a few of our experiences, and how that's affected us working together, and how that's affected us as a couple. Because work can be pretty intense sometimes, and relationships can be pretty intense sometimes. And when you mingle them together, there can be a whole lot of, I guess you could say, drama, but there's also can be a lot of good things that happen as well.
Yeah, it's very difficult to separate them. If we live at home and we work at home, and having personal life and business life, it is difficult to we think about our businesses 24/7, and it's hard sometimes. A line needs to be drawn, but it's still grey. So
I guess before we get started, we would like to say that we are in a very positive relationship when it comes to business and our relationship right now. We have worked out what works for us, and we are going and growing exponentially every month or every year as we grow as a couple and as a business partner. So just thought we'd throw that in there. It's not going to be all doom and gloom today on this show.
I wanted to a conversation that Chris and I often talk about, and you guys may have had conversations. Maybe I feel like maybe ladies, like within our friendships, we talk about this. But the idea of feminine and masculine energy. Obviously, business is very masculine driven. It's very logical, straightforward. You get to the point. Feminine is more, surrendering. That divine feminine that is, all over social media at the moment. Now, in our romantic relationship, I do want to be in my divine feminine, and I want Chris to, have that masculine and wear the pants in our relationship, which he does in our personal relationship. But when it comes to business, we're both very much in our masculine, and that's where we can butt heads. So that's why, if I'm doing business, masculine energy, Chris doing business, masculine energy. And this is a few things that we want to talk about. So what was our first point, Chris?
First one we're going to talk about was communication.
Yeah.
Do you want to kick that one off? Because let's be honest, I'm probably, when it comes to this, the one that lacks in the communication department. I can get very tunnel vision. I can get into a mood, or get into going into work, and I'm just focused. And I do lack communication. I can own up to that. You prefer and want more communication out of me. This is ongoing. She's always asking, something that I work on. But I can honestly say that is one thing that I sometimes lack in, and something that we have improved, or I have improved in a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, and when we say in communication, I'm like, by all means, I'm not a perfect communicator either, but we have found that when we mean by communication's on a number of levels. So for example, like sometimes, you don't actually have the, mental or emotional capacity to have a work conversation. As I said, we think about work all the time. It's not that it's, 9 till 5. We can be thinking about it at 9 o'clock at night or 6 a.m. in the morning. So it's, I guess, acknowledging and communicating, look, do you have capacity to have this conversation? And I think I know it sounds very odd to actually say that, but I think that out of respect, also with Eric, but if we're just talking about our relationship, I think we're getting better at respecting our boundaries. That just because I'm in work mode and have a work question, Chris might be watching the football, having a beer. I need to respect that that's his wind down time, and vice versa. When I'm reading a book, I don't want to maybe edit a caption kind of thing. So we have, and it's still ongoing, that we communicate, but we found that communication in terms of boundaries, that we almost ask permission if someone isn't in directly the work zone, or even if they are in the work zone, they're on their task. You can't just interrupt and go in there, which we're going to go in there. But one thing about communication that has, for me, is that obviously when you work together and you're working as a team and you're working towards a common goal, feedback has to be given. Constructive feedback has to be given. And there's been we all acknowledge that the feedback needs to be given. We're all on the same team. We all want each other to win. If you win, I win, and vice versa. However, no one wants to hear feedback, and let alone from a romantic partner. So we are quite stubborn, the both of us.
Oh, we're both very, very stubborn. Like, that's an understatement. We are very stubborn, and even the little bits of feedback, normally the hair will prick up on both of us. We'll be instantly into a little bit defensive mode before we kind of take the time to analyze it. Our instant reaction normally is to be a little bit defensive,
and I think
that's common. Yeah. And that's common.
And I think that's absolutely okay. Even I know when I get upset, because when you work on something and you spend all this time, you're proud, and you're
excited to share it.
Exactly. We've actually got to the point where sometimes you put on so many hours into a bit of work, you just want a bit of praise. And in our team and how we communicate, we've acknowledged that you always lead with praise first and then that feedback. Yeah. But sometimes when you put all that effort in and you're done with your working day, we actually say, like, I'm actually not open to any constructive feedback. And then we laugh. We just know that right now I'm really proud of what I've done. I just want to show you.
Yeah.
If you can give me some praise for it, and then we can do the constructive feedback another day when I'm ready to implement it.
And that's something that we've come along in leaps and bounds, because I think because we are, especially from a man's point of view, we are very analytical. So we instantly look for, our way of trying to give feedback is we want to help. And by helping, we want to give you what needs to be fixed and the solutions to that. And from a female point of view, that is the worst thing you can probably do sometimes. So I think, like you said, that we looked at what is being done well first and compliment on that before then giving our constructive feedback. And although we know we do that, it still helps. And I think constructive feedback for any business and for any relationship is huge.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to take that. And I think we are getting better at doing that. We are so much better than what we used to. When we first started business 2 or 3 years ago, we definitely had a few tiffs where we just didn't agree, and we didn't work through them straight away. But now I think whenever we have maybe a disagreement or we give critical feedback, we work through them pretty quickly.
Yeah, and it's not uncommon I'll speak for myself, for me to have a bit of a stroke, walk out, get a glass of water, do something else, and come back and everything's fine. So it's like we obviously know each other well enough of if a reaction is more emotional, more so on my part, because I am a female and I have that feminine energy when it comes to that it's not that I used to feel like maybe not judged by you or by Eric, but more so just that, showing emotion in business is perceived as weak or tears or frustration, things like that. And I think that it's come away that I know what's maybe an appropriate reaction. Like, I obviously want my emotions intact, but sometimes you just need a release. And I think it's that I'm allowing myself to release, like, in a respectful way, but then also that I feel that maybe you and Derek have understood more that you can't just say you can't feel that way. Yeah. I'm allowed to be upset if someone says your work is shit. I'm allowed to be upset. I'll fix it tomorrow. And I feel like
I know that, like, even now, even doing the littlest of tasks, as soon as someone gives me feedback, I just instantly go silent because I'm upset. And it's more so that I'm not upset about the feedback. I'm more just upset, like, because I strive to give the highest ability of type of work. I try to do my best every time. It's not like I want to give out half-assed work. And as soon as I cop feedback, I instantly go into my shell a little bit. And it takes me some time to get through that. But that's just how I am, because I always want to do my highest potential. So any sort of feedback is always like, oh, I didn't quite get it. But that's fine, and that's something I'm working on as well.
Yeah, and I think it's like we give each other space for that we know that we're not there to intentionally be malicious or hurt each other. As I said, that we all have the same goal, we're all working towards that goal, and we are individuals that have very high standards.
Oh, definitely.
So
Very high
it works in
standards.
there. And I think, I think we can talk about this forever, but this kind of also leads into our point number 2 is that stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
When we first started business, everyone was doing everything together. All the decisions were made together. All the projects were worked on together at the same time. And we found that we were stepping on each other's toes. We were micromanaging each other. That's when
different ideas that clashing, like when really like one person was probably should have been doing something, and then we clashed and we're wasting time doing the same thing.
Yeah. So we were, now we've learned that, okay, what am I good at? What are you good at? Fortunately, within our team, within the 3 of us, and in our relationship, we're good. We have strength in different areas, and that's why, I call us the A team, because we are the A team. So
yeah, let's like jump into some examples. You might have heard me speak about this. I like numbers. I enjoy doing the numbers. I do a lot of the back end stuff when it comes to accounting, spreadsheets, all this sort of stuff that bores the hell out of you. I'm more happy to do that, and I enjoy doing those tasks to a degree where you're more often likely to put them off. And then when it comes to like maybe writing or doing something more creative on that side of thing, I tend to like just get stuck in that and maybe not put out. I definitely don't put out as good as work, so I know that I can put a draft in, give it to you, and you can improve it and make it a better version. And I'm okay with that because it saves us all time at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And now that each of us has, like, Chris asked me feedback for reels and things like that, but when it comes to numbers or accounting or taxes, I don't care, you do you. And we have that trust that the other person, as I said, we all have the same goal, we all have very high standards, we all trust each other are going to put their best work forward for the success of the team to come together. So I think that has I think especially we have more figured that out this year than any other time.
You can't just be a jack of all trades. Like that's great and very helpful. And I do see myself, I can do lots of everything, but I have become more specialized in certain parts of business now. Even when it comes to editing and a few other things, like I went out of my way to learn and grow so that I could do these things and now I can help the rest, you and Eric, do better for them. And that's what I think is where we've grown so much, is that we now have, we can all do the same things, but some of us do them a little bit better and we do them more often, and that's why we do them better. It's not that we're more talented, it's just because we've been repeating the same process over and over again, and we're getting better and better, and some of us have done that with more things than others, more skills than others.
And also some people just like doing the task, which is extremely helpful. We talk about, like, I'm sure I can do my tax with the numbers, I just would rather not. So, and Chris enjoys doing it, so it works.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I enjoy doing tax, but I like to get things done, and I like the numbers. I like to see where I'm at, and I like when it comes to like calculating things, I like to see I know I can do something and get an end goal.
Yeah.
Sometimes when posting a reel, it's like, I just don't know it. There's no end goal. It's just posting it. So that's why.
So we found that finding specific tasks and then giving that person the responsibility and trusting them with that, and then be like, this is yours. You can give me updates when needed or when we have our team meetings and things like that. But otherwise, no one's butting in or being, have you done that, or micromanaging or any of that. And that's become so much more streamlined and
efficient.
And I feel like we all feel good that everyone's like working hard, doing their best, and contributing to the team as well.
And knowing that your partner's good at something and telling them that you go and do it, can you do it for me? Because your work is better, your quality is better. I know you enjoy doing this. That pumps the other partner up as well, because they're like, they respect me. They're encouraging me. They're showing me that they know that they are really good. I'm good at something. That's encouraging you. When I say, like, I need your help on this because I know you're good at it, that's just giving you encouragement, giving you pump, and you want to do it then as well. So it's also great for like the couple side of thing. Yeah.
And on the note of, I guess, couple side of things, I'm going to move on unless you've got anything else to say.
Let's move on to the next point.
So with our third point that we wanted to say is that just because you have a business with your partner does not give you permission to become complacent within your romantic relationship.
And this is a big one.
And I think this is actually the main one within a partnership. So at this stage in time, as I said at the beginning, Chris and I spend 24/7 together. There is very little things that we do that don't involve
25/7.
25/7, okay. 25/7 that it doesn't involve the other person. But what we've realized is that we understand what we actually need to make sure that we remain romantic partners. So, I do believe that, one person can't be your everything in terms of fulfill all your needs. However, in a romantic relationship, and you've got a romantic relationship and then a business relationship, and you need to nurture both of them. It is very easy, especially in our circumstance. We spend 24/7 together. Majority of our conversations are about business because that's what we're doing. That's what we're working towards together, and it's very difficult to separate it from anything else.
And we don't. And to touch on that, and then you can continue. We don't have like a normal job where you do a 9 to 5, where you just go to work, you speak to your colleagues and you come home. We don't have that. We work all different hours of the day. There's no specific like set times, and that's something we're trying. That's something that when I say we work all hours of the day, we do have set times where we're not working, but like sometimes we have to do a bit of work a little bit later at night. Sometimes we start early in the morning. It is not very scheduled like you'd have a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
So it is hard, and that's what we work on to make sure that we have the time away from that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to chuck in that just so we can relate to what it's like when you're doing the sort of work we're doing at the moment.
Yeah.
With e-commerce, etc.
So it's more so that we have always things to do. If you run your own business, when you get into your Amazon journey, you know that you're never finished. There's always something that you're working towards. You can always make things better. So you're always having those type of conversations. Now, ladies, you may be aware of what your love language is. Fellas, you may have heard that being thrown around, or your missus has made you do a quiz. I know that I have got Chris to do it. But one of my love languages is quality time. And something that came up in our relationship is that because we spend every single waking moment together, there was a time where it kind of blurred of like, well, I spend every time or we spend all this time together. Why aren't you happy? Now, there is a very big difference in Chris may be working here on the computer, I may be in the other room. We see each other, but as I said, now we're in our own lanes. It doesn't mean that we are working together on the same task, hand in hand. I'm doing something on the academy, Chris is doing something with Eric on the Amazon business. We're completely different things. And so we're like working parallel, but that doesn't classify us spending quality time as a relationship, nor does that nurture our romantic relationship.
100%.
So we've had a lot of discussions about, how we say, like, fill up our love buckets, love tanks. Like, Chris is all about affirmation. So when it comes to the feedback, I know that I have to give a lot of praise for Chris because that's very important for him. He knows that I like going for walks down the beach, and that's something important to me. So now that we've identified those things, but we've also gone out of our way to make time for those. And one of our big things right now that is really working for us is the gym.
And I hate to own up to it because I've been holding off on this for years now. And not that I don't go to the gym, but we've always done gym separately.
Yes.
And now we've kind of worked it into our day that to break up all the work we're doing in the morning, because we're very productive in the morning. It's probably our most productive time.
Yeah.
And then around midday, like anything, you start to get a bit tired, you start to get a bit distracted. And you can easily, like, your work levels can drop. So we now split our day up and we do a gym session together. We were doing classes, now we're doing them just in the gym. And that breaks our day up. We do something together. We're not talking about business. We're just talking about working out in the gym and what we're doing, the routine, and getting through it and getting our sweat on, I guess you could say. And that actually refocuses us when we come back. And it gives us some time together your mind's on something else. You're not talking about business.
Yeah.
And then we come back, we're rejuvenated and we're ready to go and we can get back into work. And that has been working really well, probably the past 3 months. And that's not going to work for everyone, but that's something that we have found because we both love fitness and we both want to keep healthy. We want to be the best people we can be.
Yeah.
It is working really well for us.
Yeah. So it like ticks a lot of boxes.
And it could be like you just go out for lunch with your partner or go get a coffee. It doesn't have to be fitness. Like, we like fitness, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
For us, that it's worked out that it's health is for both of us our number one priority. It is our own responsibility to be the healthiest versions we can be, so we can be the best versions in life, in our relationships, in our businesses. So it's ticking the box that we are doing something for ourselves and our health, but it also ticks, or at least for my love bucket, I really love exercising. Is a hobby of mine. I love doing it with someone, even though we're not like particularly talking, we're just doing an activity. For me, that ticks a box for, our romantic partnership. And then obviously we go for dinners and we go for walks and things like that, but that's something that we've implemented, that every single day that we we work on that. So we're not getting complacent in our relationships. We're not getting complacent in our health. We're not getting, complacent in how we present ourselves and rock up to the world. So that was something that it took a while to get there, because for a long time we had the argument that the exercise was the one thing that we did separately. So when Chris said 25 and 7, those were our 2 hours that we didn't see each other. But we've actually been arguing, I think, less. Everyone has tips from actually just that's like implementing that one thing as of late.
Definitely.
Anything to finish off?
I think that's the major point as well. They're the 3 main points we really wanted to cover today. And that's being open and honest with like our relationship and how we work in business. And I'm sure people listening to this, you do work with your partner. And a lot of our students, like Veronica mentioned, are working through our academy in a partnership as a couple, as a married couple. And these are things that are important. And it's fun as well. Like we're doing activities and doing business, and we're going on a business trip soon, and we're doing that together. Like it's gonna be awesome fun, and we're working really well as a couple and as a team. So like once you get the hang of it, and once you start like really working out and working out what works for each other and what works for your relationship, it is enjoyable, and we love it. I don't want it any other way. Like we're living our best lives right now, and we 100% love it. So I guess they were the 3 points we really wanted to touch on that we've really noticed for us. We've really noticed.
And I think that some people would find it curious, because I know that there are moments that we get very frustrated at each other. So I guess I wanted to point out that, like, if you're early in your journey with working with your spouse, it's normal to have tiffs and be annoyed and be aggravated, and it's normal because business is frustrating. And especially if you're learning new things, I personally get frustrated it's frustrating because you suck. And mistakes happen, you get things wrong, and you get annoyed at it, and that's completely normal, and then you've got something to take it out of.
But on top of that, having that person there for when you make a mistake or when you need help is huge. When you're working, and I recently said this, you can go fast alone, you can go far together. Having someone there to bounce ideas off of, get their opinions, get their feedback, get their critical feedback is so much more beneficial than being stuck there and then maybe procrastinating and not getting work done. Although sometimes you might have these little tiffs, I still believe they're more beneficial than sitting in your own room in your own silence and not doing anything. So
accountability, keep up the ball,
accountability is huge.
The support, taking the weight off your shoulders when you are going through high stressful times. And then I think most importantly, which we haven't even said, is like when we achieve goals, we've got each other to celebrate with as well. It's amazing.
Celebrating goals together is huge. And that's probably a point we forgot to mention, is that you need to celebrate your goals. You need to celebrate your achievements. So all the hard work you do, like if you win a game in sport, you celebrate. If you have a business win, you should celebrate. And take the time to go enjoy it, soak the moment in. Every time you reach a new achievement, make sure you enjoy it as a couple and as a business partner. It's huge, and that's something we definitely, I think we'll finish on that, I reckon.
We'll finish.
So awesome, guys. I hope you really enjoyed today's podcast. Keep an eye out for them. If you enjoy this channel, subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a like, comment below your thoughts. If this has happened to you, if you're going through similar circumstances, we'd love to hear from you. But otherwise, that's it for today, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.